All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Zoning Review Committee meeting of September 10th, 2024. This is a Zoom meeting. First on the agenda, we have meeting minutes for approval from August 13th, 2024. Can I get a motion?
Mr. Chair, motion to approve minutes.
Can I have a second? Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, next we have discuss updates on the sign bylaw. Bob, I think you've done a great job. Do you have anything else that you want to add to this that you haven't already sent to us, or?
I don't have anything else to give you. I gave you everything I possibly could give you. So you have what hopefully is the final draft of the sign bylaw with the changes from your last meeting. I took out the EMC from Route 3, put in the language EMCs are only for educational and municipal and not for other uses. And then we updated the building code. Colin got the right reference to the building code, and I found an old section reference that was based on the old bylaw set numbering that just needed correction in 2 sections. So other than that, that's the only changes there. You got a updated crosswalk that now is accurate from the new bylaw, the recode bylaw numbering system to this draft. The old crosswalk was based on the old bylaw. And then I also just included, as a reminder, section 11 definitions. There's a addition of the gas station sign and a couple of word corrections that will also need to go onto the warrant.
Okay, this page here, under section A, number 1, I think we need another word in there.
Okay.
As regulate the effective use of signs as, putting the word as in there, a means of communication.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
That's all I have on that page. The next page, where it has prohibitions, which is number 1 in that. It still says on the 3rd line, section 7.2S, that I think that should be 7.2J.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then in the tables, and I don't remember whether we did anything this on page 7.
Yeah.
If we'll get swing down here real quick at the top of the table of 7, where it says B2, did we want to leave that blank, or did we want to put something in there?
At some point you made a decision to just leave it blank.
Okay, all right. I thought that's what we had, but I just wanted
Yeah.
Okay. And I guess we need to leave the electronic message centers in both sections, residential and business.
Right, because schools and in education, schools and municipal uses are could be in all those districts, so.
Yep, so I just want to make sure of that. And then on the very last page in section K.
Okay.
On 2, it refers to highway, access highway, like in that first line. Is highway the word that we really want to use there?
I don't know. That's word is the word you've been using for however long this language has been in the bylaw.
So when I think of highway, I think of Route 3.
Right.
Should maybe change that to roadway or some other word that makes it a little clearer.
Same with 2B, right?
Yes, yep.
I think it would be clearer.
I mean, I know I'm getting nitpicky here, but this is the time to do it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Does everyone like roadway? I mean,
Yes.
just road or?
I mean, I can change that easily if that's what you,
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
If the rest of the committee agrees with me, just to make it
Great.
a little clearer.
okay.
That's all I have. Anybody else have any edits that they would like to see?
Mr. Chair, I had a question. Did we ever get language relative to bulletin boards? The highway ones?
You mean billboards?
Billboards, sorry. Because when we talked last time, we said we were gonna try to get language, and I don't know, Colin, if we were supposed to get language from council to, because we talked about not having it at all. Not having any, not allowing them.
I don't believe that was on the list of things that was asked for. I can very easily get language if the intent of the committee is to completely prohibit them.
We talked about it. I don't know if we made a formal decision on that, but I know we talked about it to see what the language was, because the concern was that as it is, potentially it's allowed, or at least there's a potential for it for an application for.
Well, there's nowhere in the document that says billboards are allowed.
Yet we get applications for it. Are we able to deny them? The way the
Well,
current
if
bylaw is written?
if the use isn't in the bylaw, I mean, you know, if somebody wants to put a McDonald's in the whatever 100 zone, you know, and I mean, it's nothing in your bylaw says McDonald's are prohibited in the residential zone. I mean, it's just not allowed. And if it's just not allowed, it's not allowed. If somebody applies for it, you know, you deny it because it's not allowed. I mean, you can add language if you want that says, you know, billboards are prohibited in the town. You could certainly add something like that.
What did come up there was definitely, Mr. Eldridge is correct, a consensus that we didn't want any additional billboards. And I think that where the group left it was, to Bob's point, that it's already technically prohibited, and there was an intention for us to figure out how the other billboards got there. And the bottom line is they all sought variances from the existing rules, basically saying the rules don't allow us, could we get a variance from all of the regulations? So I guess the answer, and Mr. Poland would have more experience than I would on this, would be that the zoning Board of Appeals just simply wouldn't grant variances unless there was a reason that they should.
Well, the reason for a variance would be very strict in nature in the form of topography, nature of the land, setbacks, things like that. As far as permission or a special permit to put up a unit like that, I think it's a very good point that along with electronic signboards, we should probably also have the added billboard nomenclature added to that right next to the electronic signboards. Because that would make it specific. Because right now we already have one, and so that is a stationary, non-electronic, it's a billboard on Route 3. And you could see the point where someone wanting to put another one up, using that one as an example.
So where we're saying the electronic signs, the EMCs, we would just add EMC and billboards.
Yes.
Do we need to define it? Does that term need to be defined?
Yes.
So we'd have to add that to the definitions as well.
That would make it perfectly succinct. Another question I had was on the two conditions of putting up an electronic signboard was for a municipal and for educational purposes. If someone made the case that they wanted a a variance to put up an electronic signboard, and they said it was for educational purposes. They want to educate the public in a certain manner. That's what I'm saying. So,
I
I
get
asked-
it, Joe. I get it, but you
okay, I
gotta
asked three
just shut
people.
that down immediately.
I asked three people. I said, if I'm going to show you something that it's going to be termed educational, what does that mean to you? And they said, well, it's going to be something that's going to teach me something, or it's something that's going to convey some sort of information. I says, does it explicitly tell you that it's school related? And they said, no.
Well, I mean, I understand that, but no judge in the state of Massachusetts would ever agree with that argument. Educational has a defined use in the state, an educational institution. That's a, that's something that's a teaching entity, not somebody who wants to educate you about, the new latest whiz bang, snowmobile or something like that.
I read it. I says, it makes perfect sense in the context that we were discussing. But like I said, I went to three different people and I asked them, and that's what I got.
So if we put that into the header record on here, let's say on page 9, for example, where it just says education and municipal uses, could we add educational institution or whatever word we want to put in there, just to have that one extra definition?
That would
that-
be the word
That
to
would,
use.
yeah, that would definitely help.
All right, well, let's add that in then, and just to make sure that there's no confusion. And I guess we would need to do that in both places.
Yeah,
Well, you got it up above too, so it's in the bullet and it's in the
right.
header. And where it's capitalized, I mean, again, maybe nitpicky, but if it's capitalized, it's supposed to be defined, right? So either in statute or by us, right? By the bylaw. So that's what I think you were thinking with the educational, is that it's defined by statute.
Right.
But if we add in the institutional, then we can just further clarify it.
Business district or neighborhood or whatever, if you want to add, if we're going to be able to add a line about billboards. And then follow along with the definition of what we would consider a billboard.
Yeah, there's sort of standard definitions for what a billboard is.
Okay. Because we already have one.
Yeah, and I think that was the concern, was that they could leverage that as a means to get a variance.
Mhm. And those are the only concerns that I had. Very good update and presentation on this, Bob.
Thanks.
Jeremy, you got anything?
I think you guys have hit on a lot of good stuff, so this time I don't have any further comments.
And Larry, are you good with the document as it is?
Yes, I am, with the changes discussed, yes.
Okay. And Eric, you're good, right?
Yeah, I just had that one item. You already hit on the items that I had talked about. I guess the only other thing that, and maybe this is for Colin to work out with council, is whether this turns into one warrant article or whether this is two.
And the two would be, Eric, if I could ask?
I have no idea.
Oh.
I'm hoping it's one, but
I think as presented, it would be one.
okay. Because we were talking about, we happened to have a meeting last night, Bob, and we put a placeholder in the warrant. And we said that there might be one or two. And it looked like one. Looks like it's straightforward. The crosswalk is there. It should be easy to explain. The items are there for clarification. I don't see a lot of controversy relative to these changes.
So, two comments. One is, as I just mentioned earlier, there is a second warrant language. The definition section would be a separate warrant, I
Okay.
assume, because that's in a different section of the bylaw. So one
Okay.
would be the 7.2, and the definitions is in section 11. So I assume you'd want two different bylaw amendments for that, a warrant language for that.
Correct. One for this, Bob is right. One for this and one for the definitions.
What if one passes and the other one doesn't?
Well,
I'm just trying to understand why it would be two separate items. Typically, we would do that if we were concerned that one might not pass. I think that they're connected because we're putting in definitions that are applicable to that section that we're changing, right?
not really.
The definitions. are
Well, I
not-
guess you are. Yeah, I shouldn't say that. Yeah, I mean, the definition sections, you know, it was to define a changeable message sign for gasoline, which is also in the table. So not for gasoline, for service stations. You know what I mean?
Yep. But the net
Um,
on it is we just have Colin work with council to determine
Okay.
whether it's one warrant article or two. But
Yeah.
either way, they're combined, they're straightforward.
Right. So my second comment is related to the warrant language itself. I noticed that I went and looked at your town meeting warrants, and they usually say to see if the town will amend section such and such by adding language in bold and deleting language in strike through. My concern is about the tables, because all of the new language is simply the headings, the horizontal headings, of which there are many, and the vertical headings. And many of them are already bolded as part of the format, and some of them are not bolded as part of the format. And I'm a little concerned that everything in there starts getting bolded. It gets kind of overwhelming or hard to read or understand what's happening. And I don't know if you could do this, have ever done this, have ever thought about doing this, but when I've worked with other communities, sometimes they have had a warrant language that would say something like the following: to see if the town will vote to amend section 7.2 sign bylaw in the following manner. A, and words to the effect of creating 3 new tables, 7H off-premise signs, 7I residential district, 7J business and industrial district, to consolidate the sign requirements of the town. And then B, to otherwise show any new language in bold and deleted language and strike out. That's a
Yeah.
thought.
That's a very good point, Bob. It would be very messy if we used our standard approach. I don't think, certainly the select board will have to vote to post the warrant, but I think that as long as council is good with the format, I can't see why the board would not be okay with that. So when I approach council about the warrant, I'll bring that up as well, but I think that makes the most sense.
Good.
Now, I need to give you, Colin, a new version of the bylaw, because we've had so many edits over time. I want to give you a final edit, a final version that shows you what is the new language and what is the deleted language.
Perfect.
And the new, you know, aside from the headings in the table, you know, the actual substantive text language that's new, and the substantive text language that's, well, any new language that's new and any language that's being deleted. So that, you know, is clear for the warrant.
And I
Perfect.
just pulled up the special town meeting from fall of 2022. And when we did the recodification, we did a similar thing. See if the town will vote to amend the bylaws as follows. And then one, it was by deleting in their entirety the following sections of the existing bylaw. And two, by substituting therefore the following new sections. That's
Okay,
that's how we did it last time.
okay.
I
well, you
like that
can-
one even more.
Yeah, that would fit in well, yeah.
So Colin, have had them just do it the way we did it last time. 'Cause
Absolutely.
that one got approved and it was fairly clear. And then we just had at town meeting, we had the additional PDFs with the crosswalk and all that stuff so that people could see exactly what was changing.
All right, so do we feel that we're ready to vote for this as amended to send it on to town meeting? I mean, I certainly do.
Yes,
Then I would like to get a motion then, I guess.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we support this new updated zoning bylaw and propose it to the Board of Select People and for a public meeting in the fall. For the warrant article in the fall,
So as amended,
as amended.
and I believe it goes to, from here, it goes to the planning.
Planning
Yes.
to the planning board. I'll second that going to the planning board.
Okay. So I have a motion and a second. I guess we should probably do this as a roll call. So Eric Eldridge,
In favor.
Larry Clausen,
in favor.
Joe Poland,
In favor?
Jeremy Baldwin,
In favor.
and I am also in favor. So that will move on. All right, next on the agenda, we have next steps, next meeting date. I don't believe we have anything else coming up that we would need to get to.
Negative. Mr. Chair, I would just note, I will send tomorrow morning to the whole committee the schedule. I'll sit down with Pam in our planning office.
Yep.
To identify the dates. Conveniently, our new town planner starts tomorrow, which is very exciting. So I will send out to everybody on this committee the schedule for the hearing with the planning board. We'll get the advertisements going, and I'll let you all know when those are, just so you're aware.
So we're looking to have this on the meeting for September, I believe, 19th and October
3rd.
3rd. Yeah,
Yes.
beautiful. Okay.
Colin, could I ask you, and if it's not appropriate, you can just tell me that, who your new town planner is?
Yes, he's green, so you've probably never had any experience with him, but his name
Oh.
is Benjamin McClure.
Oh, okay. Okay, thanks.
Of course.
All right. Last thing on the agenda would be to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, everybody. Thank you all so much for your hard work on this. And
Yeah, I
Thank you,
wanted to
Bob.
thank everybody. This has been, we've had lots of versions, but I think overall it's gone pretty smoothly compared to some other ones, places I've worked. So I
Absolutely.
appreciate all your thoughtful comments and everything.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Bob.
absolutely.
Good job, Bob.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.